Welcome to the B2B Breakthrough podcast. I'm your host, Ciara Cristo. If I am a factory owner, someone on that side of the world, what am I looking for in terms of green flags, red flags from a small business owner who is coming into this negotiation? What is going to immediately, put a bad taste in my mouth?
Absolutely. I touched on this at Alibaba Co-Create in London a couple of weeks ago, and it's asking the right questions. I see too many people go to Alibaba.com, find a few factories and go, what's the lowest price? What's the lowest MOQ? And then they wonder why they don't get a response, right? So factory owners aren't looking, what I've just said, they're looking for the same stuff as us. They don't want 1,000 customers buying 20, 30 units. They'd rather one customer buying 1,000,000 units, right? They don't want to deal with loads of people just in the small orders. Like, it costs money to set up a new production line and supply chain. So they're looking for people committed. And I think people struggle with that when they're just starting out. And the important thing is, and what I teach with people who come to China with me and are getting into this, it's important to talk about yourself and why you're selling yourself as much as you're selling the idea of your product, right? And you're also selling the future of what this relationship looks like. So maybe you only want 500 units now because you're testing a new innovative product in the market, right? And maybe we need to try and negotiate that MOQ down. I wouldn't start with that. I'd start with, okay, cool, I've got this great product idea. I see an entry point to the market. In fact, I've built and sold a business before, or here's my history in the corporate world. This is what my life's looked like so far. I'm going into this. I have cash to back it. I also have a social media channel, and I've been on these podcasts, and I'm able to work with influencers to promote. And over the next 12 months, I intend to order 100,000 units, but I need to test it with 500 units. So it's talking about the future and what it's going to unlock if we can come to some sort of agreement now. And then they'll negotiate and say, you need to do at least 1,000, you end up at 750, and we're all good. But going in, negotiating on today's order, particularly when you're first starting out, and not talking about the future, is a big red flag for them, because they don't know what's to come unless you tell them, right? So You're trying to present an opportunity, and think about it a little bit like going on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den or whatever, right? You're trying to engage with this factory and convince them to invest time in you, because I can guarantee you on the first order they're going to lose money. And they'll be willing to if they think that the upside is worth it.
Yeah, so it's about projecting staying power without getting, unethical with the details. It's about just showing, your prowess in the arena without necessarily having the sales to date to back you up just yet.
Absolutely, yeah. If you've got sales to date, great, but it's all about the future. What does this partnership look like if we're able to get the quality right, the MOQ right, the pricing right? If we can hit all those things, you can trust me to do the marketing, because that's what I'm good at. This thing blows up, and this is one product, and we can launch multiple products together and have a prosperous partnership.
That's great. And I think just being able to nurture and keep that relationship going is so key, because you are able to find efficiencies down the line, I'm sure, depending on your relationship with your supplier. So as you're starting to grow and you're scaling together, how do you approach renegotiating or like I said, finding those efficiencies without damaging the relationship that you have in place? What kind of opportunities do you see there for small business owners to improve their margins over time as they scale?
Yeah, absolutely. And I tend to negotiate on most orders, right? If I'm placing orders quarterly and they're getting bigger and they can see they're getting bigger, I know they're going to benefit from the economies of scale. I think the important thing is, if you've promised something in a negotiation, make sure you hit that. And one of the small tips that I can give when negotiating payment terms, for example, if they give you 60 days to pay, then pay in 50 or pay in 55 before you ask for 90 on the next order. So I think just sticking to your end of the bargain, not getting to the end of the 60 days when you're meant to pay and go, I need another 30. Sure. Let's make sure that we continue to prove our worth and prove that we're trustworthy when it comes to delivering what we say we're going to do. And I think transparency as well. So something that has been helpful to me in the past as an Amazon seller is they see that you're selling the product for $25 and only paying a couple of dollars for it, right? What's really good is to show them where the money's going. It's like, well, we had to pay the shipping, which is this much, and then Amazon actually take these fees. And then we have to invest 20% or 15 to 20%, whatever it might be, into advertising. And then I'm also getting influencers doing this. And then I have employees and I have an office space and this is expensive and just say, look, the margin is actually really small. So whilst it looks like I'm buying at $2 and selling at 20, it's not actually the case when you figure out and I think being open about that and sharing what it is as a partnership rather than trying to hide your numbers and argue over cents and on the dollar and stuff. I think just being open about the situation and explaining why. Like my favorite question in any situation is why. Like, can I have better payment terms? No. Okay, why? Well, it's because of this. Okay, so if we fix that, I can get them, right? Or how do we get the price down? Oh, we can't because of this. Why? Oh, because it's a very manual process. Okay, how do we automate that? Can I invest in a machine with you to be able to automate that and then bring the cost of the product down? Yeah, absolutely. So it's about unlocking those different situations and really understanding what's going on. And if you're transparent, they're going to be transparent. And again, you're going to see what the problem is. I need to get this for $2. How do we get there? Like, let's work together on it rather than just hard negotiation that makes them have a small margin. The relationship will break down and they'll cut corners, quality will drop, and you've killed the product.